We really came out, had a great first half of football. Scored first, which was something that we had not done since we've been here in a game. We've always been in the hole 7-0 or down. So we were able to score first. That was big. The kids defensively played very well. Offense between the 20s, we moved the ball. We struggled in the red zone. So we either got in a situation where we turned the ball over in the red zone or we just didn't finish. So the big focus was finishing. That's what we got to be able to do. So we talked about finishing.
What do you need to do to take the next step to get that kind of, to get them to finish, to get them to execute it?
Well, what we did that built on the success we had last week, as we talked about, was we emphasized more 11-on-11 work, and that's what our kids need because they don't have a lot of college game experience. Then we have to put them in 11-on-11 situations. So we've been using the down markers more. We've using play clock situationals. So that's going to help us. And it showed on Saturday where we were able to put them in situations. So what did we emphasize today in practice? We went 11-on-11 red zone this morning. So what you got to do is the areas that you keep building and learning from. Because like you just said, when you come back and you assess a game, where did you feel like you lost some things? We lost things in two categories. We weren't as successful as we needed to be in the red zone, and we didn't do as well as we should have on third down. So those are the two things that we're really focusing on, is being more productive and coming away with points in the red zone, and then being able to capitalize on the field position and opportunities that we get. Well, the best thing that we were able to find in all of this was every time you play a game and you go back and grade the film, you can evaluate them against somebody else. So being able to evaluate them against someone else, we can go back, show them where you're not producing. And then what we were able to do is some of these young freshmen who we felt were going to be really talented, they were able to play on Saturday. So like, for instance, Saturday night, we started 4 true freshmen in the secondary. One of them tied for lead with tackles. He had 12 tackles, 3 sacks. 3 tackles for loss and a sack. This is a freshman DB, strong safety, played a great game. He stepped up his game. Both corners, one had an interception and the other one had a pass breakup, and then they made tackles. One had 8 tackles, one had 6. So you're looking at where we're evolving, where we're finding pieces. And it's not all that it's just the freshmen, but what it's required guys who played last year to have to do, like you said, they have to step their game up because now they see the guy behind them really can't play. And that's where right now we're building the depth that we need.
Even though they came off an L,
Yes.
that leaves teams one of two ways: ready to be taken again,
Mm-hmm.
or ready to come out and annihilate the next team. I'm pretty sure I know which one you're hoping for. Which
Right.
one do you want? Which one do you see showing up here, getting off the bus from Bowie, Maryland?
Well, I'm pretty confident with the number of years that I've been in this conference that Bowie State is a high-level program. Like you said, 3-time champions. Coach Jackson, who is black and gold through and through, grew up in that program, coached under Coach Wilson. They're going to be locked in and pissed off, and they're going to elevate their game. So I think we're going to get a very sharp, angry, and pissed off Bowie State team. So we're going to have to match that level of intensity. And so we won't get any sympathy from them, and we're not going to give any sympathy. We should expect ourselves to elevate with our growth, and we should expect them to come in to show us why they've won the championship 3 years in a row.
Any sign that maybe you could move the football on Bowie because of your ability to throw the football through the air like that with the guy?
Well, what we're going to have to do is, as we watched the Shaw film and when we met yesterday and then we went out to practice this morning, we're going to have to take what they give us in the passing game. But we also have to understand at some point as a program, we've got to establish that we can run the ball. Because one thing about the CIAA conference, clock control and the ability to move the ball on the ground go hand in hand. So you can find yourself going up against a Bowie State team, which has a great defensive front four. And you're right, Shaw had success from what we saw in the film, but we have to ask ourselves, what can we do to balance our attack? Because the one thing that Bowie's going to have is they're going to have great perimeter players, so we have to be able to still run the ball to keep them honest. Because like you said, what Shaw had success was in order to get that ball in the air, they were able to establish the run, and then that forced Bowie to pack the box more, and then they were able to get some of those lanes behind the linebackers. So we have to be able to run the ball, and that's been our focus in preparation for this week, is being able to find a way to run that football.
What are you guys set up to try to do to at least try to neutralize that run game? Because it can hit you with a couple different
Oh yeah, we want to build off the success from last week because coming into it, as we talked about with the big back from Virginia State, we had to contain him. So we were able to put 8 hats in the box, and that helped us. And we want to keep them going sideways. When you let a train get going forward, you got problems. You keep it going sideways, you got hope. So we were able to do some things until we got worn down later in the ball game, that we were able to keep the big back going sideways and getting a lot of hats to the football. The key is going to be running to the football. So what we want the kids to understand is no matter where you're lined up, if you get a run feel, or if you eyes tell you it's run, we got to be getting hats to the football. You know, you may be a DB, but you got to check in on the football, which means you may have to make tackles, and that's what you're going to have to do. We're going to really have to tackle well. We're gonna have to fit those guys up. You got to run your legs. You got to do all the sound things with football. Tackling is still blocking and tackling is still football. Right now, it's Jordan Black. Jordan Black plays a slot receiver for us, and he's also in our return game. And Jordan Black has the capabilities and the desire to turn into that complement in our passing game. He's willing to do the little things. He'll block. He'll run the reverses. So I think the key is going to be us being able to get that ball in Jordan Black's hands more often. Oh, I do want to give a shout out to Lee Sales, who's our Mike linebacker this year. Was an outstanding freshman last year. I believe he made all CIAA rookie team. Lee had 12 tackles. He got an interception on Saturday night. He's done an outstanding job of helping to rally that defense over the last couple of weeks, because, you know, it's a pride factor when you've given up 70 plus 2 weeks in a row, and coming out on Saturday and at one point we were 21-7 down. We just didn't capitalize on some things, but I felt like our defense still played hard, and it was just a matter of an experienced Bowie team just chipping away at us down the stretch. But I feel like we're getting better daily. We had a good practice this morning. The guys are going to be locked in, and we feel like the progress is being made.